Yeah, it's about the bag with the triple single crew. We got Ronnie, Doc, Antonio, the real deal too. They coming and dropping knowledge, you know that they get to work. You know that triple single cover Bay Area sports. You know I'm coming hard, I don't feel like I'm in a hurry. Like number 30, I really got the range like Stephen Curry. Get a couple rings.
The triple single crew once again. We got a lot to get into today, fellas. NFL free agency, trade deadline edition. So talk to me a little bit about all these moves, man. I know the Niners have been making moves, doing a lot of things. And obviously Trent Williams is the big one. But getting Juice, getting Verrett, getting Mosley, all these guys. So Doc, you start.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy start of the week as it pertains to free agency. The New England Patriots are just throwing out money. I think they got their stimulus check early because they're giving everybody the bag. And understandably so. I'm sure Belichick probably had nightmares watching Tom Brady win that ring with the Bucks in his first year. And so I think the first domino piece was them re-signing Cam Newton, which was a bit head scratching. But now you might start to see what the plan is. Let's give Cam Newton a second shot and let's build a team around him. And who knows, they might even draft a quarterback and maybe they wanted Cam as that bridge quarterback to whoever the young guy is going to be for that next year, the following year after this coming year. But aside from that, I think some other big signings that have stood out to me is Bud Dupree going to the Titans. The Titans have really been trying to build a solid defense, and Bud Dupree played amazing. Very quick guy off the edge. I believe he might be an outside linebacker, defensive end. I believe he's kind of betweener there, but he plays hard. He was great with the Steelers, and so I think he's going to contribute to the Titans. As you mentioned, the red and gold brought back Trent Williams with a historical contract for a left tackle, $23.1 million per year, which actually beats out the Bakatari. I know you know his name, real deal. Bakhtiari, yes, from the Packers. Yeah. His contract was $23 million. I don't know if y'all saw, but on Twitter he called Trent Williams petty for that extra 1,000 or whatever it is, 10,000 a year. That's added to the back end of that contract. But overall, it's been an exciting time for the red and gold. Getting Kyle Juszczyk. I know a lot of people may roll their eyes at a fullback, but the guy is a huge part of our culture, of our offense, and how we run it. And so I was really glad that he was one of the first domino pieces. We got Verrett back. We got Mosley back. We actually signed, it looks like we're going to sign Alex Mack too, who has some history with Kyle from his days with the Cleveland Browns and the Atlanta Falcons. And so it's coming together, y'all. I'm excited for the red and gold, and it's been exciting to see what the rest of the NFL has been doing too.
Yep. What do you got, Ronnie?
Raiders, trading most of their starting offensive line, Gabe Jackson to the Seahawks, Rodney Hudson to the Cardinals, Trent Brown back to the Patriots.
It's crazy.
The only big signing, his name, real deal. I don't even know how.
Yannick.
Yeah.
Yannick Ngakoue.
Real deal
guy, man.
Before we started, he's averaged more than 8 sacks, every year he's played. And, Doc hit me with a real fact saying that he's switched so many teams. So, I believe it was a 2-year deal. Yep. I'm not sure how much it was worth, but it was a 2-year deal. So, hopefully he can help out Max Crosby after, Tack went to the Browns, which was a bummer. But, I'm not sure what's going on down there in Vegas, man, trading all the starting offensive line, but it's been really weird so far.
And they also lost Aguilar, right? They lost Aguilar to the Patriots too?
To the Patriots, man. Yeah. 2 years, I believe it was $26 million, so.
Yeah, and shout out to KB, Kendrick Bourne, also another guy going to the Patriots, former red and gold, who was definitely one of those underdog stories that I actually appreciated. I actually had a lot of love for KB. He had some really weird drops that were really magnified because of the importance of the games where he dropped those passes. But the guy also made some clutch catches when they mattered most. And I really dug his dance moves. He brought a lot of joy and fun to the game.
Yeah, he definitely did. I was also pretty big KB fan. I know people didn't like the drops and stuff, but if you're talking about a guy who went undrafted, who's obviously doesn't run a 4.4, all that, and he would still get separation. Yep. So a really good number 4, a decent number 3, and he got paid. So I'm happy for him. He got a good chunk of change there, over 10 million, 11 million, right, per year.
Yeah, it was around
the
10,
Patriots.
11.
So. Yep. I'm happy for that guy. We say goodbye to a Kellow Witherspoon, who
Oh
I
my
think
God.
we've talked a lot about.
SOFT. Soft.
Yeah, I guess you got to call him a Kellow SOFT Witherspoon. Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about I'm not concerned. I don't think he's going to become another DJ Reed. I really don't. He may become some functional piece for them, but to get paid for the way that he did, and I'm fine with him going. I'm
Not to
really
cut
happy.
you off, I think
Go for
the
it.
Seahawks signed him to be DJ Metcalf's punching bag during practice because that
Oh,
guy.
DK is
Yeah,
punching bag.
DK,
Yeah,
DK. Yeah, yeah. Forgive me.
yeah.
DK is punching bag because I mean that guy was always balling against Witherspoon.
Oh
He had no
man.
shot.
I mean, I can't, how can you forget, the last game of the season in 2019, we actually had to take him out of the game, put Emmanuel Mosley, who's I think 4 inches shorter, to go get DK.
DK.
And he did. He did a capable, I mean, more than capable, I mean, DK wasn't really able to do much at all at the end of that game.
Yeah.
And it was because Emmanuel Mosley was on the field, who's another great story. So I just want to give another shout out because that's one of my other favorites, undrafted.
Yep.
Just, anytime you get these guys that are undrafted or get bounced around, K'Wan Williams, Raheem Mostert, these are guys that are so much value, and that's why I get upset when you draft a guy in the 3rd round and he's SOFT.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a waste of that pick, and it was just such a miss.
Yeah.
And you get these guys that are undrafted, Jeff Wilson Jr., another one of my favorites, who just ball out, they're just hustling because they have to. And so, happy for the guys that we've kept, and I'm really happy we're signing these guys, man. Because you're right, Alex Mack, that was one we talked about. It was either Mack or I forget the other guy's name, Lindsley, right? That we
Lindsley,
were
from the
he's
Packers, but
between
he got a way bigger contract. Yeah, he was out of our price range.
I'll take Mack at 35 because he's like, think of like Joe Staley, where it's like he's still solid at 34, 35 years old. So he gives you 1 or 2 years of being as good as Joe was at center. Oh, dude, we're set.
Yeah.
So now it's just adding depth, just to protect the rest of that line. But yeah, good times.
Any other signings that stood out to you, Ronnie? I know you follow national football heavily. You're always kind of sending me these different articles, whether it's a signing to a new team or a re-signing. Somebody re-signed with their team. Anybody stand out?
I'm looking at it right now. For the Raiders, they reached a 1-year deal with John Brown.
Yep, John Brown, the receiver.
Nice.
So yeah, solid pickup. But definitely on like the more national side, Patrick Peterson going with the Vikings, AJ Green going with the
Cardinals.
I mean, this one's not major, but I mean Andy Dalton with the Bears.
I mean, that's pretty major because they're not gonna resign Mitch Trubisky, so it makes you wonder what's the plan there.
And then that trade offer that they made to the Seahawks, to get Russell Wilson, but they
try to get Russell.
Yeah. Shaq Barrett re-signing with the Bucks. That was a big one too. Man, just a lot of national stuff going on. But
yeah,
question for both of you guys. I know it's too early, for free agency, but who do you think are the winners and the losers of free agency so far?
Ooh. What do you think,
Josh? I mean, without trying to be biased, I think the red and gold are the winners. Like getting Trent Williams back was a must. I think it now allows us to be as creative as we want to be with the draft. There's also rumors, I won't go too deep into this, of Deshaun Watson preference being San Francisco or Denver. So, I think now that you brought back the guys that you needed to bring back, you can start putting some attention to that possibility if it's something that the red and gold is thinking about. So I would say definitely the winners there. I would say maybe the losers, the Saints, the fact that they obviously had Drew Brees retire. One of their better D linemen, Hendrickson, he actually signed with another team. Forgive me, I'm forgetting who he signed with, but he was big on that team. That man was just causing chaos last year for their defense. And so I think that's a really big loss for them as their defense starts to age a little bit. Quan Alexander, that guy's not coming back to them either, right? So, there's just a lot of pieces that I think they're still trying to figure out there in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a great call. Yeah, I hadn't realized that the Saints were so inactive, but obviously losing Drew Brees, the legend, there for them for so many years. That's going to be an interesting one to see what they do. I'd probably say it's kind of a push. I'd probably say it's a push between us and New England. I think the Patriots came out guns blazing.
Yep.
It was a little surprising they re-signed Cam and to as much, but I mean, with his reputation, I'm not shocked because he has such a great resume. And I do agree, early on in that season before COVID, I went back and I looked, and I was like, there might have been still something there. And so pre-COVID situation, post-COVID was
Yep.
very different.
Big
Cam.
difference.
And he was still throwing the ball deep. He was still able to get some velocity on the ball. So now having Nelson Aguilar, sorry, Ronnie, having KB, and having, what is it? They have Hunter Henry. I can't remember.
They signed Hunter Henry.
Right. I can't remember. They have some other guys. And so they're putting pieces. Yep. So they're putting these pieces around Cam to really, now even Cam's like, it's a whole different world right now, right?
Yeah, they signed Jonnu Smith, right, from the Titans.
And Jonnu Smith, thank you,
so
Jonnu. That's the one I was forgetting.
Pretty high level tight ends, which when they had Rob Gronkowski, and I'm not going to name the other guy because of the unfortunate actions that he did. That played for them. They use that 2 defensive set really well. So maybe Belichick is wanting to get back that type of offensive flow as well.
Well, Belichick, remember, he's going all the way back to his days with the Giants, with Bavaro, and he likes big tight ends. He's a defensive coach. He wants to go 2 tight end set, and and going back obviously to the early days of Brady, he wants to be able to do that, those little slants and crossers, and then just throw to his tight ends and up the seam. So it's not a shock. You do have some speed there, both with Jonnu and with Hunter. So yeah, man, they're going to be interesting. They're definitely a lot more interesting. And then again, it's a push for me with us. I do agree. I think the fact that the Chiefs wanted to sign Trent Williams late, we were like, the Chiefs, where the hell did that come from? And so to be able to get him, I know it costs, $130+ million, but again, as I told Doc earlier today, if we get even 2 or 3 really good seasons out of those 6, you're pretty happy, and hopefully you win a title, you're really happy. So, it won't, I do think that it'll pay off. And one more guy I'm forgetting, DJ Jones. We got him back.
Oh, yep. Well. DJ Jones. Yeah, and something I'll just say very quickly on Trent's contract is that we know the way San Francisco does their contracts is that he's not going to be with us for the 6 years. It's probably going to be a contract that after 3 or 4 years, you're able to restructure, or you're probably even able to cut him. They do a really great job with giving that guaranteed money up front. So that it doesn't really have as big of a hit on our cap. And that way it gives them some flexibility down the line. Another signing that I know might make San Francisco fans' ears perk up is Emanuel Sanders. I know he only played that 1 season with us, but I mean, he was a part of that most recent Super Bowl, team. And so he signed with the Bills. I think that's a really solid signing for the Bills. I know Ronnie and I talked about it. I told him because of his age, it might not be as impactful as it would have been maybe even 2 years ago, but Emmanuel Sanders is still a baller. I mean, he played really well with the Saints, and that was with Drew Brees, who wasn't really throwing the ball as well as he used to. He still threw well, don't get me wrong, but he's now going to be paired up with Josh Allen, and he's going to be on that receiving corps with Diggs and Cole Beasley, who's also just a small beast in himself. And so that's a nice little weapon for them to add.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me to answer my own question, there are definitely things that I believe are winning so far. It's only been a couple of days. Definitely the New England Patriots, just, obviously you question, the Cam Newton contract, but like you said, his reputation, is just off the charts. So having all those weapons around him, I believe they'll definitely have a better season than they did this past year. San Francisco, re-signing Trent Williams, that contract, you kind of question it for a 32-year-old, but just his impact, is really big. So, you don't blame John Lynch for giving him that contract. Surprising one, I believe the Cardinals have actually been winning so far, getting JJ Watt, they're getting Rodney Hudson now, AJ Green. So, the loss, of Patrick Peterson with the Vikings, kind of sucks, but, I still think they'll be fine. The Raiders are definitely losers so far, losing their whole starting lineman, picking up that defensive back, kind of helped, but that's what I got so far.
I believe you meant the defensive end, Yannick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
no,
I think I can see why you're saying the Raiders are having a losing off season, and it's because I feel like offensive lines take a good amount of time to get really cohesive and build that team chemistry. So for you to let go of some of maybe your leaders on the team, yeah, that's kind of confusing. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what John Gruden's doing anymore. Like I talked to my dad, and he was just like, "This is last year. If he doesn't make it this year, they're gonna let him go after that big contract."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know about that. But sorry, man.
But no, I don't think so. But it's been a couple years in a row where you start 6-3 and you end up 8-8. So
What was it that you shared recently, Ronnie? I think it was like a meme or an article where it said the Raiders slogan is just winning, and it showed John Gruden's record, and it's not just winning.
so that the Raiders are the only team in the NFL since 2003 to have one winning season.
Since 2003.
Wow.
That was the year that I was born. That was the year that I was born. We got to witness one winning season, and they didn't even have Derek Carr playing that playoff game. So
yeah,
a lot is going on down there in Vegas. So, I mean, it's only been 2 days, but
and just wait until Vegas actually opens up and the players can be out and about. I mean, I think the Raiders dodged the bullet this last season with everything being shut down to some extent. But I don't know if that's going to be the best place to have some young players. I'm going to just tell you that right quick.
No, I definitely agree with you on that.
No, you definitely need to have some leaders there. And we talked about it, right? Like they need some veteran leadership. They need to sign some of these guys. I mean, Yannick in a way is still young. I think he's 26 or 27.
Around there.
But, he's been in the league for a few years. So he's not a young, up and coming rookie. So he could potentially be one of those pillars in the locker room to kind of say, hey, this is how we do things. And I do think that guy is a steal. Like I really do. He's a really good player for you guys. I just wish, you're right, I wish that they would still be able to re-sign and keep their line intact. But I have no idea what the cap situation was for you guys. And again, you have the draft, right? You still have, I mean, it's not a great draft for O-linemen, but I still think you have a pretty good offensive line, even with those guys like Hudson and stuff leaving. So just, try to stay positive there, Ronnie. I think you still got a lot of weapons on offense, and your defense has definitely gotten better. So that's what I think you should hang your hat on right now is you're getting better. It doesn't seem that way right now, but I think you guys are slowly getting better, and we'll see what they do in the draft.
Yeah, this is going to be really random, but it's always it always throws me off when I hear Crosby in the NFL. When I think Crosby, I think of the Penguins in the NHL. So.
Oh yeah, right. Sydney. You think Sidney Crosby?
Yeah, Sidney Crosby. So it's always interesting. I'm like, wait, what? There's a Crosby on the Raiders? But yeah, I mean, Max Crosby obviously had a really great rookie season. So shout out to him for really being one of those underdogs too.
Yeah. Final thoughts, guys. Any shout outs you want to give out before we wrap it up?
Just shout out to our viewers. Forgive us for not being able to produce an episode last week. I wasn't feeling too well, and so the team was really understanding. We decided to take a week off, but we're going to continue to provide as much content as possible. Something we've even discussed is having some of our own like solo videos, just so that way it can be a little bit more like in real time. And so you might see some of those come out sometime soon with maybe the real deal, giving his quick take on a game or on a transaction that happened. You see what he's wearing. He's one of the biggest Giants fans I've ever met. And so I know he's keeping up even with these spring training games. Yeah, he texted our text message. That was vintage Longo when Evan Longoria hit a home run to start the game. And so if there's anybody who has their mind tapped into everything San Francisco Giants, it's the real deal. And so who knows, he might be the front man for anything that's San Francisco Giants related. And same with Ronnie with national basketball and just Raider information. And obviously I'll contribute where I can, but we know you guys love being able to have different things to watch. And so just know we're actively talking about different ways that we can just continue to produce consistent content.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. And I think we should thank Ronnie's mom once again.
Yep, always. That's a ritual now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for letting him hang out with us here and talk ball. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys always for listening, for commenting below, for following us on Twitter and Instagram at TSC Bay Area, for liking the channel and subscribing. We really appreciate it. We're here for you guys. So thank you so much. And with that, till next time, we'll see you guys.
Signing out.
Yeah, it's by the bag with the triple single crew. We got Ronnie, Doc, Antonio, the real deal too. They coming and dropping knowledge, you know.